Hello world, welcome to another stream. And this is the afternoon stream of the same week. So we had a stream today in the morning where we worked on the AnyLint tool that I have on GitHub. And now we're going to work on the Open Focus Timer. And this is the summary from last week's stream on the Open Focus Timer. And yeah, I want to quickly go over that. So we have a quick recap where we left off. First, what we did was we updated Swift syntax to version 5.6 on body crouch, actually. So we started with body crouch, which is another open source tool. Then we fixed some Swift lint warnings there. And we made a new release of body crouch version 4.10.0, and that's already on Homebrew now, so you can upgrade body crouch to 4.10.2 actually already. Because there were some problems with Homebrew setup and compiling, and I fixed them. So it's available on Homebrew now, and it should work with Xcode 13.3. Then we worked on the Open Focus Timer, and we prevented the reflection part of the windows on the Mac to jump around when starting a timer. So we fixed something on the layout there. Then we added a custom shape-based progress view. So we have a custom progress view now, and extracted to its own file and simplified it a bit. Then we extracted custom progress views into their own files, and hard-coded categories were added, and groups to choose from for our own needs were also added. So we are working on the categorization and grouping part, category groups. And then we implemented basic category group selection UI, and we connected that to the database. So sounds like we're going to continue the work there. And we didn't have any blockers last time, but we did have some learning. So effect.timer methods, every param can be passed a unit, for example, init seconds. So we didn't have to extend time interval or something like that. We could just use that. Also, we had the idea to create an Xcode extension that could split a call into in one line to multiple. For example, if we had a call like this up there, this is very long and it's always tedious to like jump around with all the parameters and click enter everywhere. Instead, it would be great if there was just an Xcode extension that could just convert this to this. At least I would use it a lot, and maybe that's something that we can explore in the future, in some future streams. Let's focus on the Open Focus Timer, and today in the morning we also had AnyLint, so let's focus one step at a time. The next steps, I will just actually copy them over because we have a new summary document for today's stream. And it's here, and actually just added from today's morning stream what we did. So we made an AnyLint 0.8.4 release, which is the second step. And we fixed an issue with the Swift SH path on Apple Silicon Macs in AnyLint. There's more coming for AnyLint in next streams. I don't know how I'm going to tackle that. Maybe I will do morning streams AnyLint, afternoon streams body crouch, I will Open Focus Timer. I will think about that, but basically we will continue working on AnyLint in the future. But these are the steps that we documented where we could continue. And that's choose a category for each existing category group when starting, ending, during a timer. That makes sense. So when we start a timer, we want to choose like what we're working on, more or less. Continue by fixing picker code in timer view. It's not showing right now, so there's a bug there. Also add feature to create new categories, hard code category groups for now. Yeah, we have to be able to create new categories. I think that's the most important thing. And then we can make also creating category groups later, but that's not the main focus for the start. And fix more warnings. So we have a lot of warnings, and the warnings are like to-dos that we created for ourselves. So we can like fix parts that are not finished at the moment over time. And that's also how we found these issues here. And yeah, that sounds like something that makes sense to continue. Before we continue right away, though, I want to quickly recap what I've said already in the morning stream, but as people could have missed it. So there is a new newsletter I'm writing every month about the Swift evolution forums, so about the future of Swift, basically. And you can subscribe to it on semonthly.finedev.com. Then I also released or published an article about my streaming setup. So I started with the motivation why I'm streaming and my hardware setup. So if you're interested in that, yeah, check out this article on jihad.medium.com. And lastly, this is the release we made today in the morning stream. That's 0.8.4, and if you don't know about AnyLint, you may want to check it out. At least if you use SwiftLint a lot and you create custom rules there, I think AnyLint is a really basically improved alternative. I went into more details why it's improved and how it's improved in the morning stream, so I won't go into the details again, but you can check out also the README, which is quite detailed. Now let's go into this app development. And let me actually check out or open Xcode here with the Focus Timer project, so we can see what the app looks like right now, because I'm also developing this once a week, so I kind of forget the exact state we're at. So let me just run the application on the Mac application. We have Mac and iOS targets here, but I'm focusing right now on the Mac application. Jesus Moron 92, welcome to the stream. Use the Wingardium Leviosa to solve anything. Haha. Okay, is that like I don't quite get what you're referring to. I mean, I have a lot of tools that are named after you check out on Flyingsoft. I have a tool called actually, they're not all here. Okay, I wrote a tool actually called Accio, so that's like something I created, and I have also an article on that. So that's something that's Harry. Yeah, I know it's Harry from Harry Potter, of course. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. It's a summoning charm, right? Wingardium Leviosa. And you notice the scene with where Ron is talking about Hermione and says like it's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa. That's like why it's also famous, I think, and everybody knows about that. I created this, and also I had created a tool called Mungo Healer, which is not totally finished. Yeah, also on black background you can't really read it, but yeah, this is I don't know if you know that, but this is about St. Mungo, and St. Mungo's hospital actually is named after somebody called Mungo, and this is like a famous healer. And that's why this is called Famous Healer. And it's the tool, the purpose is basically catching errors and streamlining the error handling. And I think error handling and healing is kind of like, yeah, belong together. And unfortunately, this is not something I have finished, so I have more plans for this tool. And I might get back to it at some point, but that's like the current state it is at. And obviously I have body crouch also. So you probably know that, and that's where you're coming from. And body crouch is a figure in Harry Potter. Actually, there are two figures in Harry Potter called body crouch. Body crouch is senior and junior, but this is referring to senior because he is someone who speaks over 100 languages. Let's quickly play Pokemon here and catch that ducklet that just appeared in the chat. Okay, but let's get back to the app now. So we just ran the app, and here it is. So this is what the app looks like at the moment, and I see there is like a timer progress. There is the timer counter here. How are you doing, by the way, Jesus Mora? I'm not sure if you're following me even. So you just discovered my stream? From where? I'd like to know. Please tell me. So 3 seconds left. I can click continue. Oh, okay. I can see that we have some chooser here, which is interesting because I think we documented that continue by fixing picker code. It's not showing. So the picker seems to show, but only later. Twitter bro. Okay, sure. So, Jesus Mora, yeah. Nice. I think the Twitter community thing is really like launching and kicking off right now with the new community feature on Twitter, which is really interesting. I'm really looking forward to all the learnings that we can have there, the sharing things. I don't know, how do you like that so far? Okay, so we can choose the task type already, we can choose the project, and we have created them in code, but it's great that we can actually choose them. I think we didn't see this UI last time. Maybe it was a caching issue or something. Also, when we continue this timer and we end it, and by the way, as you're new, this is basically not the final UI, of course. This is just a like a temporary UI, just so we can make the app work first. That's like make it work, then make it better, and then make it fast. That's basically my approach. Yeah. Okay, so when I start a new one, I can always see them. Why didn't they show up at the start? So let me start the app again. Docklet has been caught, nice. So there is nothing ongoing right now and it's not showing me the type. Let me see, task type review, project code review. So it doesn't disappear here. I'm not sure what the logic there was, but let's just have a look at the code. So we are in... Ooh, what are these? I didn't see that before. Must be some temporary files. Also showing build. Interesting stuff. March 9th. Quite old, so let's delete that. Anyway, so here are our sources, and these are the this is a modularized app, and we have the timer view here. Let's go to the timer feature so we can see the preview. So in the timer view we have, I guess it's a picker, so let's just go for pickers. There we go. And let's make this a little smaller. Oh, okay, let's make it larger. Let's just adjust things here. So we have our picker here. We're seeing group name. It's not showing there. Oh, why is it not working? It was just working a minute ago. This looks interesting. This is white. I think this is the part where we have the pickers. So it's saying it's a list. Continue here. Yeah, that's what we documented last time. Which pickers is not being shown? I don't know. I think the problem is that it's not being shown all the time because we have a list here and a for each, and we don't have any if hiding or something like that. So it should show all the time. But as you can see, it's not showing in the preview. It's just a weird white thing here. And here we're not seeing anything actually. But I expect to see it all the time. I think that's the issue we had. And for some reason, if we run the app and we kickstart, it will start showing up. So that's really weird. If you have any idea why that's the case, feel free to share. Group name, view star binding. Yeah, there's nothing that's logic for hiding it. So I'm going through the category groups, and for each group I'm providing a picker. Is it because I'm wrapping it into a list? Do I need to put it into something else? Or maybe I need to provide like a minimum height or something? Min height. Let's just go for some min height and see what happens if we... Okay, this should update automatically, and it does update, so the height has changed here. If I change it to 200, you'll see it does update. Something happens, but this is really weird. Let's play around with the background, see if we can actually see it. That project is in your current job. This is an open source project, so let me share with you the project link so you can check out the project itself. But basically this is an open source project that I'm working on just in my Friday streams. So I just actually released an article about why I'm streaming, and also like I explain here in the motivation part, so you might want to check that out as well. I'm explaining here like why I'm streaming and what I'm streaming exactly. But basically this is an app that I write for my actual work time. I started as an indie developer at the start of this year, and I am currently working on a different app. That app I'm not developing in the open. So my actual app that I'm currently working on, I think it's also going to be like first release I'm expecting end of this month. And it's an app for developers, so you might be interested in that. So make sure to follow my Twitter announcement. But while I'm working in my free time, and also while I'm working here in my streams, I actually want to track what I'm doing and what I'm investing most time on, so I can later analyze that and maybe make some informed decisions as to how I want to change how I'm working. And part of that is that I actually want to know exactly these 4 things. Amazing, you're improving your iOS skills with that project. Of course. But improving my skills is not what my goal is. I already have a lot of experience. I'm doing iOS development since 2011, so like I have a lot of experience. I think I'm learning a lot about SwiftUI, which is still relatively new to me. I'm just working on that for like 1.5 years or something. Yeah, learning iOS development is not the problem in my case. I think Mac apps, that's new to me. So this is my first windowed Mac app. I did one for the status bar a few years ago, but not one with a window yet, and that's a lot of learnings for me. I only have 1 year and 4 years in web development. That's cool. So you're doing 1 year iOS development. If you have any questions, feel free to ask also on the code and anything. And that's also something I'm offering, is making just code reviews or refactorings. Or if you have an own app of yourself, I'm also doing app reviews. So if you want to know about them, just check out, let me just give you the links here. So we have review and we have refactor. Feel free to check them out. iOS development since 2021. How do you like it so far? Do you use SwiftUI? Do you use UIKit? How do you like that? Okay. So I'm not seeing the background change. So somehow this is not the view that is shown there. Let me just comment this out and see what happens to the preview. So it disappears. If I comment it in, maybe I can't give a list the background. Let's try on the for each. And on the picker, this, and on every text. So let me just give different colors here to see what is happening. Okay. Let's see what's going to happen. And I have the feeling that nothing will happen because nothing is being shown. This is interesting. Could it be that we don't have any category groups in our store for the previews? Could that be the case? So, category groups. There we go. It's an empty area when initialized. I see. What about our preview? So this is our store, and we're just calling the init method. So we're not passing any extra data. So we might want to actually do that so we see something in the preview. That kind of makes sense. Cool. So I pass. So there's no parameters for passing in any category groups. How are they actually being loaded? Oops. Okay, it's only appearing once here. And oops. What about the reducer? So the reducer, when it did appear, is being called, sets the data from the database, basically. So it's loading the data from the database, and we obviously don't have anything in the database in our previews. So what we need to do is to provide some mock data in the previews. Let's actually do that. So we're calling mocked here, which is append mocked. So it's calling this. This one is again calling into the persistence controller shared container view context. Shared container view context. Is this the one we want? This is the shared, but we want to use the mocked one, right? Why is it the shared one? For the mock, it should be the mocked one for the mock. Let's see if that changes anything. Update the preview. So we're not seeing that it's building, but it's actually updating the preview right now. I think it's this one here. So it does not work. And it's saying fail to build a scheme. Okay, it can't find it can't basically get the type of this. Let me actually try to run the tests, because the build fails there as well. And where is it failing? So interesting. I guess it's the backgrounds here, which I think are wrong, and therefore it can't build. Let me try again. Does build now? There's a test build as well. Yes, let's resume. Preview still not working. Preview overrides. I'll just try again. The error doesn't really look like something I can make use of. Current focus timer mocked. Oh, okay, so here I was loading the actual database. Here I'm loading mocked focus timer. And this is calling the mocked context, I see. Probably it's not that problematic. Anyhow, I think the preview is not working. And still it's empty, so that didn't fix anything, but we can now go to our mocked managed object context, and we can try to provide some data inside of this managed object context. And we could do it here maybe. Yeah, it's directly there. We could also go to our persistence controller. So we have the mocked one here, which is an in-memory one. And we could implement something like this is static var, so this is going to get called over and over again. We could do something like if that is empty, we're going to add some data. I think we have that already somewhere, because we are filling our database with some data on some level. Let me go to the app entry point reducer. It's a good place where it could be. So we're calling it did appear, and yeah, there you go. So we're calling the database seeder and we're saying, hey, please seed into this context. And what do we seed exactly? So we're seeding the categories and things like that. This is exactly what we need. And we are going to call this, but we're going to call it here inside of there. And I'd only want to seed if it's not seeded already. How can we prevent seeding if it's already seeded? Okay, I'm already checking here. Categories are empty. And yeah, I'm not doing anything if it's empty. And the wild ink eye appears, so let's catch that. Cool. Database seeder. I'm just going to call this in our mocked API here. So whenever we initialize this, actually whenever this is called, the mocked is called, we want to return this, but before we want to call into the database seeder and make sure that we seed some data. And this is actually the context. So let context. And then we can just use the context here and return it. Now we should have some data in our previews. Let's see. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. It builds first? Nope, it doesn't. And the problem lies here. Ah, of course, I'm calling inf.database seeder. I just want to use the shared one in this mock. So database seeder shared. And it's importing app entry point now in the model. No, that's not what we want. Okay, how can we solve this? We're going to solve it right after the break, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, let's continue. We were here and we had this problem that app entry point is being imported in the model. This is not how it should work. So this is not the right place to put the call here. I believe the database seeder is just in the wrong place. So let's just go to database seeder and see where it's at. Yeah, it's directly here, and I think the seeder belongs to the model. Just makes sense to me. Let me just move it here instead. Then it doesn't have to import model anymore. And we can go back to our code here and no longer need it to do that. Let's try fire app builds because I'm expecting some import issues with the database seeder wherever I use that. We might need to import model there. So it's okay, it's saying it's internal. Make that thing public. Public again. Oh, it does work. Interesting. But good. In that case, we can go back to the model. It's here. And now we go to our timer feature. And the timer view. Let's try again. Let me build actually. Build succeeds. And preview update. That work. Now we should have actually have some data in our database, which could lead to data being shown here. It doesn't have to. So it's not building. Give me some issues. We'll try running tests. For some reason, when you're building a SwiftUI preview, it's also building the tests. I don't really understand why. That's just how it is. Not infer. I think that's wrong. Yeah, building works. Let's resume. Once more. Okay, that picker is not showing all the time. That's like a separate issue. Fix the picker's not being shown. I think we can keep this warning, but we can't ignore it because it does show after sometimes. So fix the pickers not being shown right away. That's basically what we need to fix. But they are being shown after some time. And the question is why that is the case, but we're going to figure that out later. For now, I'm just going to run the app here. Yeah, it's not building. Why is it not building? I don't see any errors. Why do I have to always build twice? Anyways, now they're showing and now we can choose something else. But interestingly, it doesn't update right away, so maybe there is a picker issue there somewhere. There's definitely one. You see when I click continue, it does update the UI, but if I just change the value, it doesn't. Maybe the connection to the store doesn't work, so go to our timer view again. Do we even have any actions when the values change? So category group selection changed. Did that. So how do we handle the action? We're calling category, yeah, we're calling category group selection changed. What do we do when this happens? Category group selection change. We're changing the states category group category and selected group categories. It's basically a dictionary here. Category group to model category. And in our view, this is cool. Read selected group counts. Let's also hide this. So we are calling into this, and it's based on category groups. Maybe it's not knowing that we actually, whenever this changes, we want the view to update. Anyhow, I'm still going to skip that even. So let's comment it though. Document it. So warning. Pickers don't update the selection value right away. Extra action needed. Which is really weird, because anytime the state changes, it should actually update. I really don't know why it doesn't. But we can see them, and they look kind of ugly, but that's what we're going to work with for now. And we can basically continue the timer. When the timer is ended, the question is, does it store in the database? That's the next thing I want to know. Does the storing actually work? So the database file is this one here. Just copy that. Let's just open that. So we can look into the database, browse data, and we want to see if our focus timer is pointing to the different, what are they called? Different duration, third type focus topic. I don't see reference from focus timer. Categories, how are they stored? Let me check. Our database model. We have the categories, category groups, and focus timer has categories. Belongs to, okay, only categories, no groups. The categories themselves belong to groups. So when I change, also that's interesting to know, when I change the task type, oh no, that's different. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so focus timer should have category ID somewhere. I don't see it though. I see ends at, started at, focus topic. So where are the relations? There we go, she rich text entry. How can I see relations here? Probably the category has no, it doesn't. Group. Let's see this extra table. Memory key. Okay, how are relations, too many relations stored? Isn't there like a join table? What I would expect. I don't know how core data does that exactly. Go to the structure, maybe this will clarify more. Oh, I don't see any hints how they are stored. Focus timers index, which text focus. Okay, maybe it's here. Category group index, which text entry, there's problems. Focus timer as index. Categories. Is it this? Can I see the data somewhere? Data? Can I see the indices? But I know. Anyways, we're going to see if that works or not. I just want to check if it works on a database level. Let's just see if we have the save logic. So I'm a reducer when we save the action for storing. I think we're storing all the time. Anytime a change is made, we're storing it. And for example, you can see when the timer has ticked, we're making the state tick, and then we're saving the changes to the database. But is the selected group categories doing any changes? I don't think so to the focus timer. We might want to update our focus timer when a selected category, selected group categories, group and category. Okay. Maybe we need to turn that into a. Wait a second. Do we really need a dictionary here? Selected group categories. There should be only one. Ah, there's one category chosen per group. So yeah, that does make sense. Okay, but we need to update also the focus timer itself. So let's do that. Let's say when we're in the reducer, Now our logic says category group selection has changed, and then we have the group and category. Okay. A wild graffiti appears. Let's catch that. Okay, so we just basically want to say state the focus timer. And we want to go into the categories, and we just want to add the category that was just selected. We might also want to remove the category that belongs to the same group. So before we do that, we want to know what category for that group was the value before. So let's previous category group. That is state.selected group categories for the group, and that can be nil. So in the case this is nil, don't need to do anything. So let's say if let, and if there is a value before, we need to do something else. Let's actually do the if let later. So we have a let here, and we're setting a new one, and we're adding. Let's actually do the if let. Maybe it does make sense. So if there is a, maybe we don't need this because we can just use the data from the, yeah, let's try that out from the current focus timer. So we're setting the current focus timer categories. We're basically first removing. Okay, so how can I remove category? Remove from categories. There you go. I want to remove the category. I don't own balls. How I can get balls? Let me quickly read that up. Playing Pokemon here. Poke Shop. Find it out. I want to buy a Pokeball, for example. Oh, that purchase was successful. Can I also buy multiple? Yeah, quantity. Can I buy like 5? Cool. And now Pokecatch. Very interesting. Okay, Pokemon already escaped. Anyways. Remove from categories, and we're removing the previous category for group, and also we only need to remove that if it changes. So if the previous category not equal category, then we're removing it, and then state the current focus timer add category, append, add to categories, and we add the new category. That's it basically. And let's actually remove this. I don't think we need it. Build and see what fails. You can adjust things. So first in the timer reducer, this is failing, of course, because we don't have that. We don't no longer have that. Risk group. So basically, what we want to do here is for category in state.focus timer, current focus timer. Categories, we just want to walk through the categories where the category group. Okay, let's go to category type, and group is just called group. Category group equals the group that we got past. If they're the same, for each of these, I want to remove it from the current focus timer. But only if it is not the same. getting a lot of logic here, so let's maybe online. For category, where category group is the same group, but the category is not the same, so the category has changed, we're going to remove from categories this category. And let's actually remove it in any case. And then we want to add state the current focus timer. Add to categories the category. Now builds saying no from the request and a set to conform to sequence. So we have an NS set of categories here, and it doesn't conform to sequence, but I think we have focus timer extension, and I hope we have the categories as typed categories here. We don't yet, so let's do that. I'll just copy this over. We're going to turn categories, which is an NS set, into an array, and the array is going to be of type category. Returning category, and we're making an NS ordered set of new values for the categories. The only question is it even ordered? Check that. Not ordered, so we don't need to order it. Let's just make it a set. A set has no member array. Okay, ordered set had an array. We could just wrap this in an array though. We just go no. Should we make it an array? We could also just use a set here. So just a set. This should work. Agrees as set. And of course we need to call it typed categories. Just set a new value. Oh, we need to put that into an NS set. NS set. How can I turn a set into an NS set? There you go. Okay, I need to call it set. There you go. Now we should have access to typed categories. Word category group. Okay. Start current focus timer, remove from categories. To categories. Let's try to build. Build failed because we are referencing selected group categories from within our view. Now we have to change how this works, and to get the selected group like the category for the current group, we need to have some convenience here. So I'm just going to create something, and this is, we need this provide group. Yeah, I'm just going to write a convenience API. Let's just make it a function like func. Now we just get the category for a group. Category group. Now select the category. It can be nil. And we're just going to state the current focus timer self the current focus timer, into the typed categories, and we get the first where the group is the same as the provided group. And this cannot, but this should fix it. So we can now say selected category group. And because this can be no, we'll go into group the type categories of first. So it will default to the first value. And we can see that we're calling that we're doing a force unwrapping here. And if we know that this actually cannot be empty, if we know that, but we don't know that. If we knew that, we could make that a non-empty set. But I'm going to just stick with, yeah, let's just keep it as is. Timer action, oh, okay, I have to write some warning. First unwrapping the lead and empty group without categories. Can I keep it here actually? I don't think so. Oh, it is building, okay. Dragon Dust, hey, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. How are things going for you? Feel free to write exclamation mark Poké start to start playing Pokemon in the chat. You can get your first Pokemon. Give you help here. Yeah, we can't put it right in here. I'm just going to put it here. Everything is fine, that's great to hear. How's your Friday? Are you looking forward to your weekend? How was your week? That's interesting. Sometimes the commands don't work. I typed the same command and it didn't work for me. But Poké start is what you need to type. Start playing. Let's build again. So we are calling this good. Failing. Sense. Real fail is your selected category group. Category is the biggest type to look up. Okay, so we have another category. Let's call it model log category. Just Poké start, not Pokemon start. So exclamation mark Poké start. Like Poke start, without any white space in between. Never mind, I have not much time. I have to drive to Karlsruhe in a few minutes. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you made it now. So your start is Oshawott. So you start with an Oshawott. That's great. Anytime Pokemon comes, yeah, anyone Pokemon appears, and that happens every 15 minutes, you can catch one now. So is it building? Yeah, it is now building. Let's see what the app looks like right now, how it works with now going through the database model and not through some local state. I'm a total noob when it comes to Pokemon. Yeah, no worries. It's just to have some fun in chat. I don't know if that's a good idea also. For now, it's kind of distracting because there's not many people in the chat. But yeah, maybe some people will like it, so I just wanted to try it out. So we can make that. We can select programming, and it switches directly. So that's an improvement. If I switch now, nothing happens. If I switch now, something does happen. But we're going into a small break here, so I'll be back in 3 minutes. See you there. Okay, get back to work. Okay, so we did discover that it kind of works here now. But I have the feeling that it only updates because we're calling the tick method here every second, and then it updates the state here too. But at least the learning is that it does update the state. But I wanted to update the state because I made a new selection. For some reason, it does not update when I do. And how did we solve it for other things? We have thing like how does it know that I have changed the current focus timer? I have some kind of a way to update the view. Complete update local state with focus timer. Timer's running. Time left. Update local state with, yeah, that sounds like something we want to do. Oh, no, this is based on the time. We could reintroduce the selection code that we had before. Copy that. Apply our changes again. So we do have the selection and we could add that on top. But no, that doesn't really help. So let's just say selection changed. Bool. And let's set it to false. And then we're just going to say here, not here, in the reducer. Going to say state.selection changed. Toggle. So this way, each time we make a change, and the toggle gets changed, and then we need to reference that in the view somewhere. This is like a trick, a SwiftUI trick. If you reference it anywhere here, how should we do that? It should be related to this list. So, how can we actually do something like that without any? So SwiftUI first update, basically the trick. Yeah, I don't want to do observable object with it's a core data model. This is what I'm looking for. Don't we have to use it somewhere in the view? I don't know, let's just do something like if view store dot name action changed and show an empty view. No, I just want to see if it fixes the issue. This date workaround. No, it doesn't work, so this still doesn't update. So no point in that. I wish this will update. Maybe I do have to use an observed object. Can I say something like add state in here? I don't think so. This. It even says unknown attribute. Yeah, of course, this doesn't work anymore. Yeah. I'm going to fix for later. I never had this problem with TCA architecture that I had to use these properties. Always updated just fine. But I guess I have to fix that somehow, sometime later. Anyways, so this works. This was working, and I can set the values. I also should have them stored in the database now. What's next? Choose a category for each existing category group when starting and ending during timer. Yeah, you can choose it anytime, basically. When ending, we could ask the user explicitly for this form. Like when I do something like that, and then it ends, I could ask, like, do you want to specify a task type and things like that? Or the progress summary. So maybe you want to just show these things at the end as like a modal. Continue by fixing picker code, and yeah, this is what we had to look into. But I think we're going to now say that at the end, we're just going to ask the user to enter explicitly which one we have here. Let's do this. I'm gonna create a new view, but let's first go to the code here and see what changes we made. The focus timer, this helper, then a database seeder that we changed and moved elsewhere. This timer reducer logic, timer store. We don't need this. This was just to try out like this. Like the category makes sense. And these comments and small changes. So improve a refactor. This is basically a refactor. Database seeder locked plus store a category selection in DB. Refactor seeder. There we go. These changes, we can just revert them. Let's document this. Also, in our summary document, we're working on open focus timer 14. This type project. Cool. So now we want to create a new view, actually, which is going to be that modal, and I'm just going to make it its own component here. And it's basically the timer results, timer summary, timer edit, timer. So when the timer is over, we're going to show that modal. It's like the timer. And also I want to use actually the same view for like the part that I'm showing here. I want to maybe use the same view, or I could actually hide these information behind a button, and I could just show that modal in that button. So it's something like edit timer details, and when you start one, I could also just show that with just this part, and when it ends, I show it with this part. Maybe I wanna have this elsewhere and this elsewhere. So this like extracted into its own view, this extracted into its own view, and then I can show this part when you click one button, like edit task type, and I can show this part when you click that other button, which is like edit summary, something like that. And then when you start the new one, I could just automatically show this one, and when you end the new one, I could show this one. Sounds like a good plan, actually. I think I'm going to do that. So we're extracting two things here. First, I'm just going to call this reflection. This already has the name reflection, and I think we have already a reflection feature. Yeah, this is already extracted. So this is just a reflection part already. So no need for an extra thing here. But we didn't create one for this, so let's give this a new one, an extra name. We are calling into reflection from timer view, right? Let me just check. Reflection. Yeah, we're calling into reflection view here. And I want to do the same for basically this list. Let's extract it. Should we show the list at all times? To make it a little more convenient. But then when I want to ask for it, when you start a new one, if you have still the same, I want to have it in its separate view. Even if we show it all the time. Oh, a wild Pyukumuku appear. Let's try to catch. Okay. How are we going to call this? This is basically the category selector. Categories selector, category groups, category selector. I think it's the category selector. Categories selector. Let's add it here. And we need a target as well. Target model, target timer feature. Let me copy that so we don't have different names, no typos. Dependencies. See? The comma is missing. And let's move that. Let's create files first. I'm going to need some files, but I'm just going to option drag, and then I can just adjust things. Utility I will probably need anyways. Oh, I actually tried to catch Pyukumuku escape though. Interesting. Model core data utility. I will need this. I will need well, I think I will need all of them. I will just rename everything that starts with reflection. Doesn't it find everything else? Is it case sensitive now? Yes, it is case sensitive now. I just learned something new. Yeah, already escaped Dragon Dust. So previously, when I marked this and I tried Command Option E, it would mark also case insensitively. Now it's case sensitive, which I really like. That's great. Now we can just say we're calling this categories selector reducer. Maybe we should call it category selection let's call it selector anyways. Category selector user, and then everything that starts with reflection. Categories selector. Quite long now. Get this. And the content, obviously we can remove everything because that's not implemented yet. And everything else also. Let's just remove. This was just a helper. Binding. Here. Everything starting with reflection to categories selector. And remove everything else here. Actually, I think we will need the focus timer. No cases yet. And I think that should work. And last but not least, oops, action view. And the whole content, I'll just remove that. Bring this and the helper method. Also the small written one here, categories. Okay, looking good. Maybe it's too many imports. I probably don't need resources. Any SwiftUI utility, it's always good to keep. Model I will need. Handy Swift is always possible. So Handy Swift model and utility. I'll remove it until we need it. Model and utility. So model and utility need to be imported here. Okay. Now I should see category selector here. And also let's rename the types, of course. Great. Let's see if this builds. And it does. So this already built, and let's see the preview. This looks like. To build scheme, no such module. Oh, I forgot to enter the composable architecture as well. Damn. Let's try. Okay, it's not really something here. Let's add something. Categories. Okay, preview works. And we can get started with the view, with extracting it. So we did have it in the timer feature. Basically this part here. Instead, we want to basically call into this here. we need to implement this part. But the then is basically the categories, like view init. All, and this needs to be written. For now, let's just focus on our view here. So I'm just going to paste this code. And we can already see we need category groups in the view store. So category groups is here. What exactly is that? Category. Okay. What else do we need? That's it, I think. Category groups. The categories by group, don't we need that as well? Categories by group. Category groups. Okay. Have to go now. See ya. Yeah, sure. Have a nice weekend, basically. Have fun. See you around. Thank you for joining by. For dropping by. Thanks. Thank you very much. We have the group, and then from the group we're getting categories, right? No, here we have it. So category by group. That's also something we need. We need both of these. And what does this selected group categories make here? I don't think we need that anymore. I'll remove it. Remove that. So let's put it into our store. Maybe we don't need it here anymore then. Could remove it from here. Let's try that out. Let's comment it down and we'll see it as well. How did we set it? We set it not on the initializer. We might need to set it in the initializer actually. Why are we setting it in the reducer? I think we should set it in the initializer. We're doing something here. Allow hiding any wave reflection state to save space while working. Implement a mini reflection state. Calling fetch. I'm getting off. I think this exact code here. I think we don't need it here anymore, so I'm just going to copy and comment that out. Instead, in here, right here, this should work. Self. And the environment is what we need. That was a problem. So we could just pass it in. Just need the managed object. The context. Managed context. This should work. And we're going into another break. See you in a couple of minutes. And back to it. So we just move this here. Let's try if it builds. Okay, we can already see this is not building because it requires context here. We can just mock to there as well. Build again. Oh, it's saying it's internal. I mean, it's managed object context extension. This is inside of model. Import model. Do already import model. Make it public. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Built. Obviously, we need to provide the action here for when category group selection changed. I think we can just copy it over from timer user. Timer store, I mean. What does it say? I haven't caught any Pokemon. What's going on here? Let me check quickly. Where's my bag? I do own Pokeballs. No idea. Okay. Back to non-Pokemon topics. We're just... I think we actually don't need this. Oh, we need to look into these, and I think this one we can just copy over as is. To the... here. And likewise, if I go here to the reducer, the case where I handle it, we also no longer need. Instead, I can just move it over here. So when that gets called, state the current focus timer, state the etc. Have current focus timer. Yeah, it's just called focus timer. Now we need to change this to categories. Select direction. Oh, select the category group, also need to be moved. So we had it here, on here. Add it as a function. Cool, build is succeeding now. Let's see what this view renders to. Okay, that's interesting. We can now see something. So, okay, it did render, but then it failed. Let me re-render. So we have app preview and programming selected. If I run this one, forward, here we go. We can change it, but it doesn't update. And that was the same issue we had before. So maybe it's easier now to fix because it's like a smaller space here. Actually go in here and see that okay, we are getting these selected data from in here, and we might want to make it explicit. So I am going to go back to the store. And these we don't need anymore, but there was this. Remove these. So there was the local state with this dictionary, and if we read our data from the dictionary, actually we should actually have a refresh, and we can still save the data into the database as well. So select the category groups. I'm just going to change that, its value, and at the beginning it's empty. Yeah, actually it's not empty. That as well, but we're going to the reducer And in here, in our logic, we want to update the selected category group categories. So like state.selected group categories for the current group, set it to the current category. And I'm still making the adjustments on the database layer, and we're making changes to the database layer. We should also store it. So I want to say env dot, how is it? Let's just look it up. There we go. Env.manage chapter context is safe. Then selected group categories. We're setting that. Okay, and then in the view, I actually want to get the data from that. So we're saying like not selected category, and then looking it up from the UI at the database. We might need that actually in our initializer. I want to do something like self.selected group categories and just go for no, we're just going for focus timer for category in focus timer dot type categories. Wait. Oh, maybe we can do it. So category, and I just say self.selected group categories. Let's make it empty first. And then I say like for the group, categories group. Each category has to have a group, so we can make it like that. I'm setting the category. And that's the initial values that we will have selected. Yeah, should work. And we don't need this anymore. To view, and instead of using that method, we're going to call into selected group categories group. Else group.type categories first. Now let's make this actually nillable. So else let's just leave it at nil. No. Category group selection change, and also the selection can change to be null. In theory, at least. Well, let's try, maybe it builds. It doesn't, because it says category must be unwrapped before. That's because the binding here, yeah, this is expecting a honest category. I changed this to an optional, which means that here it can also be an optional. This is an optional now, and actually I would just guard against it. So guard let category else fatal error, because I think selecting a nil value shouldn't possible picker. That's how we're going to handle it, at least for now. And now we should be able to build. See what the view looks like now. We'll just refresh. Preview. Okay, this refreshed, and at the beginning we have no value set because the focus timer we create here doesn't have any value set, which is fine. As expected. And then we can set a value like programming, and the app crashes. Interesting. So let me actually include this encode this in the timer view so we can actually use it properly. And for that, we need to introduce a new state, which is going to be like the reflection state, but it's this time the categories selector state. And we have to import it, of course, into our timer feature. Categories selector. Categories selector state, which is an optional. And categories selector action. Then we connect them in the reducer as well. The reflection reducer, and likewise we're going to categories selector reducer optional pullback. State is timer state category selector state. Action path is timer action category selector action. And the environment is just appinf, comma, work. And now in the view, we want to do self.store.scope state in action, and our state is just the categories selector state, and the action is timer action categories selector. Okay, now we have connected everything together, and now it should basically show as before. Just go to the Mac app. Oops. Mac app. Now run this. Okay, build failed. Still some things we need to fix. Switch must be exhaustive. Oh yeah, we have a new action, which is this. And for now, it's going to handle it the same as here. Category selection. Here. Ignore because it's handled by the child reducer. When we show it as a modal, we might want to react on the action where the modal is being closed to close it, so we can basically nil out the state. For now, this should be fine. And it builds, and not showing up though, so nothing is showing. Does that make sense? When are we showing it? So we're showing it when it's not nil, yeah. Of course, we're never setting it to some value. So we are setting it to reflection state, have a value. But why are we waiting for it to appear? I don't know. Anyways. Without hiding any reflection state to save space. State.reflection. Category selector state, of course. We're going to initialize it. The focus timer is just state.current focus timer. The context is env.managed object context. And let's add a warning. Put this into a modal. Another Pokemon up here. Let me try to catch again. I'll use a great ball this time. Let me try. Okay. This should build now, and this should show something. There we go, it's showing from the start, but value changes actually go into a... they actually fail because it says that category being sent is nil. Very interesting. And let's have a look at the view here. We have the tag set to the category. So when category group selection change is being called, for some reason the category is nil. Could it be that the category type needs to be identifiable? How does the tag system work? Let me just look it up. So SwiftUI for each tag. No tag there either. Pokemon catching does not work in the chat. I tried again and nothing happened. Don't know what's going on. The category even is new. Wow, since when does that work? Oh, this is cool. Let me take a screenshot of that. Amazing. Didn't know this was possible. Since when does this work? Wow. Okay, so the problem is that we are actually running into for each with a category that is new. Categories by group. How do I set this up? So this is empty at the beginning, then I go through the group, and then I say type categories sorted. Can it have nil entries? Seriously? I don't think so. I think we do get something here, and we're even calling person wrapping that. I think the problem is that category is not identifiable. Let's make it identifiable. So let's just say category extension. Oh, we already made it identifiable. In that case, what about this? Yep, still crashing. So this is definitely something that we need to fix. And I'm going to comment it here. Selecting a different picker value results in a nil category crash. This is basically what we need to fix. So, problem show. So what we're planning then to do is show the category pickers on start of a timer, show as popover, and show summary entries on end of a timer as popover, add edit categories and edit summary buttons to show anytime during a timer. Category for each existing area when starting ending. This is basically a more clear form of what we had below. Add feature to create new categories. Hardcode category groups for now. Yeah, those are things to do next, but basically first fix the issue with category selection. Category pickers not setting error value receiving nil. So that's what's going on, and let me revert these changes. This is our current state. And it's crashing. I think we documented what we need to do next. Let me actually finish up the documentation, and then the stream is already going to be over, so let's see all the changes we made. These are new, they're great. Fine. We have been removing parts, and this part actually can be completely removed, so let me properly remove it. Cool. Extract categories selector from timer feature for reusability. We have done that. Let's go back to this. And yeah, the countdown is already getting close, so let me remove that. So this is what we did here, and one learning I had actually is this. Make it even more clear. Give it a proper color. So, I didn't know you could do this, which is nice. Xcode during breakpoint or crash in this case. You can hover over variables in Xcode to see their value. No need for the button. Is it called? For the debug area. For the debug area. That's the learning. Category. And that's how we're going to continue next time, and we have actually made some progress here with the refactoring as well. Document that too. Here. Reusability. Let's also fix the commit here. We just go and amend reusability. Reusability. There we go. Let's first push that to override that commit. But that's it for the stream. So everyone who has been watching, thank you for watching. And a quick reminder of the Swift Evolution Monthly, if you didn't see that before, my blog on jihad.medium.com, and the AnyLint tool that we have worked on today in the morning. So next week on Friday, I'll be back working probably again on AnyLint and open source Open Focus Timer. If you liked this video at any point, make sure to like it down below. Other than that, I'm going to check quickly if there is anyone we could raid. Other than that, thank you very much for watching and see you next time. And Twitchers, may you get a raid now. So thank you and see you. Bye.